Hello, 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 everybody. My name is Steve Ford. Welcome to your English lesson. Today, I have a wonderful lesson teaching you different ways that you can say yes. Are you ready? Let's go. So I have a great lesson here for you today. In case you haven't done so, you can hit that like button. You can also subscribe to my channel. And today we're going to be talking about the many different ways of saying yes.
You better believe it. Tell me about it. You better believe it. Tell me about it.
Absolutely. For sure. You got that right. Yes, indeed. I couldn't agree more. You can say that again. You're telling me. You bet.
You better believe it. Tell me about it. You better believe it. Tell me about it.
No shit, Sherlock. Talk about stating the obvious. I hear you. I feel you. Nice weather we're having. Now, there's two ways you can answer that. You can answer the standard way, yes, but how else could you agree with someone that you're having nice weather? Absolutely. So as you can see, there are many other ways that you can say yes. In this case, absolutely, used all the time. Absolutely. And you'll notice that I don't pronounce the T on the end there for absolutely. And the syllable stress is on the lu. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a bit of a dual syllable stress there. Absolutely. Now, let's say that the weather isn't so absolutely wonderful. And somebody says to you, what a shitty summer we're having. What crappy weather we're having. If you feel the same way, you could say, tell me about it. So we use this when we share somebody's complaint. It's only used in negative situations. Tell me about it. You can link tell me, and then about it becomes about it. So once again, like I've said in other lessons, you can take that T on the end of about and you can relax it into a flap T. About it. And you really want to try and inject some complaint into that, some emotion into that you're complaining. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. You could say it's easy to gain weight, but it sure is difficult to lose it. Tell me about it. Do you agree with me? Let me know in your comments if you think that it's easier to gain weight than to lose weight. Heck, there are some people, even when they look at food, they start to gain weight. So many people would like to travel to so many different places. Would you like to travel around the world? For sure. Now, there are two ways that we can say it. We can say it in its full form, for sure, or when we say for very quickly, for becomes fur. Can you hear the difference? For. Fur, fur. So when we say it fast, it's for sure. It has the same R sound as sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. So I guess you want to party this weekend after working so hard. You got that right. This is a very informal way of agreeing with someone. You have got that right. And that's the only time I've heard it. A very informal, friendly way of talking. You got that right. You got that right. Now, a more formal way, going in the opposite direction when we want to agree with someone, is we can say yes, indeed. This is very formal. Some people here will use it jokingly. There are other ways that you can say that you agree with someone. In a normal way, you could say, I think she's the nicest person in the world. And then you could answer, if you agree, I couldn't agree more. Now, one of my favorites when you're agreeing with someone is when you say, you can say that again. So for example, you could say, whoa, that dessert was delicious. And if you want to agree with the person, you can say, You can say that again. Now, I'm saying that in its full form, but when we say it fast, you can becomes you can. Can becomes kin. You can. And then that again links together, that again. And we use a flap T on the end of that. That again. So altogether, you can say that again. Now, if you're in the middle of a party and you say, oh, this party is the best I've ever been to, you could say, you're telling me. That's another way. And we have in the full form, you are telling me. It means you agree with the person. You're expressing your enthusiasm. Or you can use the contraction you're telling me. Or in a much more friendly way, you can say tellin'. But you would only use this with close friends. You wouldn't be using this in a more formal situation. So altogether, you're telling me. Other ways you can agree with someone in an enthusiastic way, in a less formal way, you could say, you bet. So you could say to somebody, are you having a good time? You bet. And even more informally, and by the way, I didn't pronounce the T there, you bet. You could say, you betcha. Now, this is extremely informal, similar to that rural English I was talking about. Somebody would say, you betcha. And we put a ya on the end there. You betcha. You betcha. You betcha. Now, we have ways of agreeing with someone when we want to say, kind of in a sarcastic way, that it's more than obvious. Man, that building's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. If they're a really close friend, you could say, no shit, Sherlock. Or you could say in a more formal way, talk about stating the obvious. Both of these are sarcastic and they mean, well, it's obvious. Talk about stating the obvious. Now, when we say talk about stating the obvious, you can notice how that links together. Talk about. Talk about. Talk about. Okay, everybody, I hope that you found this lesson useful and you can practice these as many times as you like. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can watch more of my lessons, and I hope to see you in our next English lesson. Bye, everybody.